Hello, welcome to the video. Today I want to talk about 5 things that I wish I knew back in the day when I was really struggling with my body image and making progress. I was skinny fat and very unhappy with my body. I was going to the gym but was not seeing any results whatsoever in terms of physical change, and it really sucked. So if you're in that position, I totally resonate and empathize with you. I know how frustrating it is to not really know what you're doing wrong, but just knowing that you are doing something wrong because things aren't moving or changing how they are for everyone else. So the first thing that I wish I knew, by the way, this video is really for you if you are skinny fat, but it also applies if you are just overweight, underweight as well. You probably are making a few of these mistakes. So the first mistake that I was making was thinking that I could just wing it when I went to the gym, and I would basically do whatever I felt like on the day. I would split my workouts into upper body or lower body and just do what I saw online, or I was seeing this guy at the time and would go to the gym with him and I would kind of copy some of his workouts, and I wasn't following a program at the end of the day. I was winging it, and you can't wing it if you're going to the gym. You're pretty much wasting your time. At the very start, maybe you'll see a little bit of progress, but effectively you're going to be getting suboptimal results unless you are following a proper structured training program. So winging your workouts, don't. Get a program. There's pretty much no excuse not to have a program these days. There's so many affordable ones that you can find online, or if you don't have time, if you don't have money, you can spend the time to look up how to write your own program. And I've got an article on my website that can help you do that if you're interested. I'll put it in the description box. And having something to guide you is going to be better than having nothing, even if it's something that you write up yourself and you're not an expert in terms of exercise selection and you're not a trainer. Having something is definitely better than nothing because that will allow you to progress. And this brings me into the second mistake I was making, and that was using the same weights every workout. I thought that by going to the gym, number one, that was enough. It's not. You need to be following a program. And then I also thought by just being able to lift the same weights, I was working the muscles and that was enough. But no, your muscles adapt to the stimulus. What that means is if you continuously go to the gym and use the same weights, then your muscle doesn't have to adapt. It doesn't have to change. And if you're skinny fat, you need to focus on building muscle. Skinny fat is a problem of not having muscles. So building muscle should be your goal, and fat loss as well, but that's diet related. It's not really training related. If you're going to the gym, it should be to build muscle. It shouldn't be to lose fat or to burn calories or any of that, because that's mostly taken care of by your diet. So you need to be making sure you're progressing every week. And what I mean by that is adding weight, adding sets, adding reps, or forcing your muscles to adapt in some way. So that is why having a program to follow is really important, and then making sure you're also increasing your strength in some way. So it's called progressive overload. I've got videos on this channel on it, but basically you need to either be adding weight, adding sets, adding reps, or improving your form in some way, or increasing your range of motion. Those are all forms of progress and all forms of strength gain. So if you can't add weight, add a rep. That means you're stronger, your muscle is stronger on that exercise because it can do one extra rep. And that is what is going to force your muscles to grow, and that is how you are going to see physical change in your body. The next thing that I was doing wrong, assuming that my form was good. I look back on some of my videos now and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like so bad. No wonder I wasn't really getting anything from the exercises. I was getting sore from my workouts. I was progressing up to a point, but my form was so bad that I just couldn't keep going. Especially on squats and the compound kind of lifts. So what I would recommend doing, don't assume that your form is fine just because someone's taught you or you think you know it, because when you start adding weight, your form is going to break down. It happens to everyone, even myself now that I know how to do exercises properly and I'm very confident in how to teach them and how to do them myself at a weight that is manageable. As soon as you start increasing weight or adding reps and you get fatigued, that is when your form is really going to break, and you need to be aware of that so you can fix it. I think one of the biggest mistakes I see amongst so many people that I talk to is they assume their form is fine and they don't pay enough attention to improving their form, and range of motion especially. If you're doing the exercise suboptimally, which you probably are at some point, then you have so much room for improvement, and if you're not doing it right, then you're not going to be making as much progress as you should. So really making sure you are doing the exercises right. I would recommend filming yourself and then comparing it to a video you see online, and you can kind of look for the differences. Or if you know how to do it, then filming yourself, you should be able to see the differences or what you're doing wrong quite easily. Otherwise, get a coach to help you, even investing in a trainer for a few sessions at the gym, or online coaching online coaching is actually really affordable at the end of the day compared to an in-person trainer. And learning how to do exercises correctly is going to pay off for years down the track, right? So that's what I would recommend if you are having trouble with that. And if you think you know what you're doing and you're doing them right, then you're probably wrong with that one. So I wish I knew that. The next thing I wished I knew was that the scale doesn't determine your progress, especially when you're skinny fat. If you're skinny fat, there's a high chance that the scale is going to stay the same, or it is going to need to go up a little bit in order for you to see the changes that you actually want to see in your body. And that is because muscle is denser than fat. It doesn't weigh more than fat. Like a pound of muscle and a pound of fat is a pound, but it's denser, so it takes up less room, so you can actually become leaner looking and tighter feeling than what you are now, even if you weigh more, because you're building muscle and then reducing your fat. So becoming detached from what the number on the scale says and not worrying about it, not using that as a form of progress, is something I wish I knew back in the day, because I was very attached to that number. I was very scared of it going over a certain number, and that held me back for a very long time in terms of seeing changes in my body. So move away from the scale. If you're skinny fat, it is not the best way to measure progress. What I would recommend doing is focusing on strength. So making sure strength is going up, because that's the best sign that you are building muscle, which is something you need to do if you're skinny fat. And I would also measure your waist measurement as well and make sure that is decreasing, because if you're doing things right, strength should be going up and your waist measurement should be going down. And that's a very good sign that you are losing fat, building muscle, and your body is changing, and those physical changes you want to see are on the way. Taking progress photos is obviously another good thing you can do to measure progress, but I would only take those probably every month to 2 months, because when you're skinny fat, the changes that you want to see in your body, they come slowly, they're going to take time, you need to be patient. So yeah, you don't really need to take progress photos that regularly. and don't expect to see massive changes, but focus on those strength gains and focus on that waist measurement going down, and you should know that, or feel comfortable knowing that if that's happening, then you're on the right track, and keep going. The last thing I wish I knew back in the day was that I was not eating enough protein. And I thought I was eating enough protein because I ate meat. I was like, okay, I had a chicken salad for lunch, I had a piece of fish for dinner, that's plenty of protein. And I had some yogurt or something. Like, I was very aware of what I was eating and the foods that contained protein, but I wasn't actually measuring the grams of protein that that portion size of meat or whatever contained. And as a result, I wasn't actually eating as much protein as I thought I was, and I wasn't actually eating enough protein. So if you want to build muscle, you really need to be eating protein. It's super important, and protein is so important for like a number of reasons in terms of having a optimally functional body, but it's especially important for muscle growth. And if you think you're eating enough protein just because you eat meat with lunch and meat with dinner, then I encourage you to reassess that and actually track it for a day or two and just see if you're hitting that number that you should be hitting. So a rough benchmark is you want to be eating about a gram of protein for every pound of body weight you have. That's if you're skinny fat. So just say that you are 130 pounds, then you should be eating around 130 grams of protein. And what you'll probably find when you track your food for a day is that you're only hitting around 60 grams or maybe 80 grams, and you're short 50 grams. Like, that's a lot. Or you maybe are short 80 grams. That's a lot of protein. So then working out ways which you can increase your protein intake throughout the day, that's going to really help you. So those are the things that I wish I knew back in the day that would have saved me a lot of time and a lot of negative energy and going through a lot of frustration and unhappiness. So if you have any questions about any of those mistakes, I guess, and if you're making any of those, try what I've recommended, and yeah, reach out if you do have any questions, because I do want to help you. I understand how frustrating it is, and yeah, I've been there, so I empathize. You can change, you're not stuck, and you just have to get on the right track, I guess. So I hope this helped you, and I will see you in the next video.